Are the Packers' Super Bowl hopes over with Micah's injury? And obviously, your thoughts on Micah.
They're not over. I'll start with that. They're not over, and I had this team winning it. But the level of confidence and belief that I have, losing a guy like Micah definitely diminishes that.
Yeah.
Like it knocks that down pretty drastically. And the reason being is because not just because of, man, you lost a big time player, but the impact that he has both on offense and defense. Because you afford, when you have a player like that, and you know he's going to impact the game, you obviously become better as a whole defensively, and you can be without Wyatt, Vaness, all these other pieces. You lose a guy like that, you're going to see the impact of being without Wyatt, Vaness, and all these other pieces. Offensively, you have to now score because you know you're going to give up a lot more. And so the pressure now is going to be on that offense to produce, and Christian Watson, once he got hurt, before Micah, they started to spiral offensively. They couldn't put up the numbers and be productive offensively. But just the overall impact of just a player like that going down, it hits the locker room like a load of bricks.
Oof.
I mean, Rashawn Gary, and I got some sound I'm going to play later, but Rashawn Gary, when he was asked about Micah, his response for the first 15 seconds of the question, he head down and he just like 3 times. Like, it's so deflating when you lose a guy like this. And we had a lot of injuries the year we ended up winning it. But I can only imagine if we had lost Charles Woodson before we got to the postseason, not in the Super Bowl. Just so deflating. And I feel sorry for those guys, but as Matt LaFleur alluded to, nobody across the league is going to feel sorry for them. And they still have enough to make it into the playoffs. The deep run is going to solely rely on what Jordan Love can do.
Yeah. Taking nothing away from the Broncos, I thought you saw them deflated yesterday in the game. Like, I thought once Micah got hurt, you could tell it was serious.
Absolutely.
That you could see, like, they lost something. I think there's a great chance they would have won that game.
Literally and figuratively, you could see it on the field.
Oh, yeah. And Rashawn probably, I mean, he probably felt it yesterday, but the attention now he's going to get that he hasn't been getting and he's excelled against without Micah being there. I think with Micah on paper, you would say if everybody plays their best game, Green Bay can win it or will win it. Right, if they were fully healthy. Now, I still think they have a chance because they were a good team, in my opinion, before they traded for Micah. And I gave them a shot. But they're not the best team on paper anymore. And that defensive backfield, remember, before the Micah trade, that was a concern, how they covered. Once they got him, they didn't have to guard for as long. So, it changed everything for the defense. Offensively, you mentioned Christian Watson. That's huge that it appears that it's not that serious of an injury, and he might even play next week. Because his spreading the field, like his deep threat, I think that you've seen Josh Jacobs be great the last few weeks with Watson there. I think it opens. That's, to me, if Watson was out too, I would really be concerned and probably think they don't have a shot. I think having Watson back, J-Lo's going to have to be awesome. He wasn't yesterday, but I still think they have a shot. Because there's no world beater in the whole league, I don't think.
So before I answer the question, I just want to say something about Micah. Because he's the first player in NFL history to have 12.5 sacks in each of his first 5 years. In my opinion, either he or Myles Garrett has been the best defensive player of the 2020s. I also think he's been a great personality. I know that, at times his personality has been, used against him to a degree as far as the distractions or whatever, but I think it's great to have him in the league. And I feel sick for him. And I also think for a guy with his athleticism and his bend and his quickness, the ACL and the way it impacts him moving forward is probably a little different than for Patrick. Neither of it's good, but you're anxious for him. It also is why he wanted to get paid. this year and not play on a one-year deal. That's why for football players, there is no, just kick it down the can another year. Now, listen, he's so great, he'd have gotten paid even if this had happened, but it's probably not the same amount. So there's that. Now that I've said that, let me say this. I believe they're done. If they have lost their second and third most important players on their team, quarterback's the most, Micah Parsons, Tucker Kraft. If 4 years ago in the final, with a month left in the season, the Chiefs lost Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, they'd be done. And that is, and I understand that it's not apples to apples, but just great tight end is your best weapon, amazing front seven, disruptor pass rusher. So I don't think they can overcome those losses. I think to a degree, it's like the Lions last year, man, we just got too hurt. And I understand the Lions, it was a bunch of defensive players, but this is, to me, your best offensive weapon, your best defensive weapon, lost in quick succession. I think they're done.
Brou, what grade are you giving Dallas? Their playoff hopes are basically done.
Yeah, I think it's 0.5%.
It's very simple, Brou. They just have to go 3-0, and the Eagles have to go 0-3.
With the Commanders twice for the Eagles. All right, look, let's set the scene, because that's important in my grade. I've gone back and forth. All right, here's the scene. Dallas, you're playing for a playoff spot.
When?
Minnesota, you're not. Okay? Dallas, you're at home. Minnesota is not.
That's usually how that works.
Dallas's owner was all giddy a week ago about their playoff chances.
See this coming.
Minnesota's was not. Dallas has the most expensive, highest paid player in the history of tackle football. Minnesota's got a quarterback that we don't know what the heck. And now, going into that game at least, we didn't even know if he was a starting quarterback in this league. And you get cooked? You got everything to play for. They've got nothing to play for, and you let them come into your house and cook you. You give up 34 points to a team that averages 20 points a game. I mean, what in the world was going on with the guy? Dak Prescott, y'all MVP? Nothing.
Who's MVP?
Y'all love Dak Prescott. I like Dak Prescott. Y'all love Dak Prescott.
True.
He was
Did
on your
nothing.
ballot.
He wasn't on Bru's ballot.
For a week.
See?
A week. I think I was pressured too by y'all. And George Pickens, Greg, does he not want the $100 million contract?
He might not.
He just didn't. The second straight week after all that criticism.
Don't leave out
he's
Aubrey.
A no-show.
Aubrey missed
He
kicks.
did.
Aubrey.
That's how
the
good
ball.
he is. A 51 and a 59-yarder, he missed
They
him
threw
and
him
was
off
shot.
by asking him to run.
But he did.
Silly.
You're right. He did miss him. Now, Wildes, look, it's been a tough day for you because
No intent.
Oh, Brou, no. I got you, buddy. I'll
not
fix
been a
it.
tough
Oh
day for
no, because your boys lost.
Okay.
And so I'm going to do
Shocking.
you.
Brou, I told you I would have fixed it. Brou,
I'm gonna do you the
I told
pleasure.
you
What
should
is
have let
this?
me fix it.
What kind of thing is this?
No.
I'm going to do you the pleasure. I'm going to let you hit the button.
Not gonna work.
I didn't bring my boys.
Okay, did you do
I
this?
didn't. You
or
know
not?
what? Yeah.
This segment's falling apart.
I didn't bring my boys
So you want me to-
because it's snow outside here in New York, and I'm gonna let you hit the button because it's been tough for you.
Try to save
Bud's
it.
has
Don't break
already
it.
been
I'm gonna try to save
taking
the
a hit.
segment, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it might be that it's malfunction.
Why? I don't understand
It just didn't work for you.
narratively why it doesn't work when I press it.
Well, go ahead. I fixed it.
I just don't
It should-
understand the story we're trying to tell the audience. It's like I'm not a Cowboys. It doesn't.
You're
I don't
breaking up
understand why it works.
my gadget.
I don't understand.
I don't get it why it won't work for you.
It's like how cool I am.
I don't get it, but hey, F game by the Cowboys.
Greg, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Were you surprised, because Brou alluded to it, everybody agrees it's an F game. It basically ended their playoff hopes.
Yeah.
They played the Vikings, made J.J. McCarthy look good. Are you surprised George Pickens wasn't able to muster up 60 minutes of great effort in this game after last week? After, what he's...
All that criticism.
The criticism?
I am surprised. Based off of what we were seeing, obviously, for the duration of the year, in a good portion of the year, and what's at stake for him. Like, it could have been taken as, okay, you played the Lions, they played you slightly differently, CD kind of goes down, and it's like, okay, that was an outlier.
Yep.
But to follow it up on the national stage, at home, and then now everybody's going to be focused on you, and every time they pan to him, it looked like he was spaced.
Yeah.
Like he just wasn't even there. And I struggle with it because you want every player to get paid. But this is why, if you're Pittsburgh, this is why you shipped them out.
Yes.
This is exactly why you shipped them out.
Has Mike Tomlin ever made like a bad call here? Has Mike Tomlin ever and the guys just popped like crazy? If Mike Tomlin's saying I can't really make it work, I don't think the Cowboys
because
can make it work.
I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers knew his ability was this.
We all saw it.
But
here and there.
But what we weren't seeing, probably because they didn't have the quarterback play, they didn't have the other receiver that could support him and be there. This is what you're going to end up getting.
So is he on the Cowboys next year?
Well, I mentioned Brandon Aubrey. What is interesting is everybody's just assumed the Cowboys will be able to just short-term franchise tag Pickens while deciding what they want to do. Well, then you better get Aubrey locked up. Because you only have one franchise tag available, and they're both pending free agents. And so, I look at Brandon Aubrey as
they need him.
A wildly valuable player.
Oh, yeah.
But you should typically, with the best kicker in the league, you say, okay, what is that is a legitimate, what's the highest paid kicker? I think it's Butker, actually. And you give him more than that player long term, and he's fine.
Let me ask you guys this, because everybody's talked about, even when we thought they still not going to make the playoffs a week or two ago. People are like, oh, but next year they're going to be.
I kind of like
this. To me, this was the same old Cowboys. I'm not even trying to be funny. They're a tease. They get you thinking
they torture their
that
fans.
They're going to be good.
Yes.
And that's why last week, remember, I said, I don't know that they're going to win out.
Yeah.
You looked at the schedule and you said they should have won out.
That's right.
But they just lose games they should not lose, and that's what happened yesterday.
And by the way, if they beat the Chargers and Philly loses to Washington, people are going to believe again.
Oh. Rams put up 41 on the Lions.
By people, I mean me.
That also moved the ball on LA. Puka had a career-high 181. Rams into the playoffs. Lions odds to make the playoffs at 25%. Nick, what was the story for you here? The Rams win or the Lions loss?
Listen, the Rams are a victim of their own success at this point, where the Rams look awesome, win is not really a story. Mm-hmm. And Devontae pulling his hamstring is a story that he obviously isn't going to play Thursday, and that's a huge game against Seattle. But if I'm them, I'm like, hey, Devontae, we'll see you in the playoffs. Puka, I thought, suffered a terrible injury, and then missed 3 plays, and Sean McVay's like, hey, let's do a wide receiver sweep. I mean, Sean McVay.
Can you do it?
Sean McVay calls plays for Puka Nacua like he's a rental car. Like, he's just like, whatever, man. Like, it ain't my problem. And Puka's like, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. But the story is the Lions, because they're not done, because they do get Chicago, and if they win out, they will make the playoffs. But they have gone win-loss for 2+ months. And so if you look at their schedule the rest of the way, do we think they're all of a sudden going to win 3 in a row? It's possible. But the Steelers are obviously playing for something. The Vikings just had their best game of the year, arguably, and then in Chicago. So
if they win out, they are in? If they don't need help?
If they win out, I don't think it's 100% they're in, but what will help them if they win out, Brou, is they will have swept Chicago.
Yep. It's pretty close.
But Chicago, Chicago's what, 2 games up on?
Pardon me.
Right.
They would probably need
Chicago
San Fran.
Needs to go 1 and 2.
San Fran to fall out.
Again, all the little playoff predictor things says the 3 NFC West teams are in. that they're locked, that the NFC North is getting 2 teams. And so I think one of the things that helps them is them being Detroit, if they win those 3 games, is Chicago and Green Bay play each other, so someone there is going to get a loss. And so again, like I haven't done this all on my own yet, but if they win out, they're like 95% to make the playoffs.
They got 6
I just
losses.
don't think that they are likely to win out, is my answer, I guess, Brou, given how they've played.
Well, look, I agree that the Detroit loss is the bigger story, and I don't think, let's say they miss the playoffs. I don't think their Super Bowl window is closed. And I don't know if you guys
I agree.
Right, because offensively, Jared Goff was great yesterday. It was the defense that was the problem. What their task will be is just strengthen that defense. Because offensively, you've got, the great running backs, you got receivers, you got the quarterback. Like, they are fine. So I think a lot of people will feel if they don't make the playoffs, the window's closed. I don't feel that way at all. I think they'll be okay if they bounce back next year.
The bigger story is the Lions, and I think they're done.
You think they're done?
This year?
I think they're done this year. And I honestly, I grew up in Michigan. I've been rooting for the Lions for years and been let down, and they've had a great run. I don't know if I don't have their Super Bowl window being as open as you do. I think it's very slim to none because of what's happening in their division. With the Bears making this jump, the Packers obviously are going to be there as a constant, but the Detroit Lions right now, if Caleb continues to progress, I don't know if they have the second, third, like the stats consistently. Goff is going to be what he's going to be.
But you're saying that they might end next year with the 3rd best quarterback in the division.
Absolutely.
He's not as dynamic as
correct.
The other 2.
And so, but for this year, I just think they're done. When you looking at how they played and the guys that they have, I know the Packers, obviously they're probably banking on that one because the Packers are only up a game and their injuries, and they could falter. That's definitely a real scenario. I'm just more bullish on the Packers than I am the Detroit Lions, simply because I believe the culture, I believe the quarterback is better, and I believe their ability to galvanize together defensively is even still better than what I see with Detroit.
Yes, even without Micah.
Even without Micah.
Broncos won their 11th game in a row, 12th in a row at home to punch their ticket to the playoffs. Bo Nix. If you watch this show, you wouldn't think Bo Nix is very good. Turns out, this dude is amazing. 4 touchdowns, and the Packers pass rush couldn't bring him down. Nick, we'll start with you. Now, I bolded now. Now, can you see the Broncos winning the Super Bowl?
Not quite, but what I will say is if the Bo Nix they've got in the last month is the Bo Nix that shows up in the playoffs, then yes. And I have to give credit to the at least idea that I was wrong about him and that a young player is going to continue to improve. He is playing his best football right now. That was a great win. That was one of the few games this year where the Broncos defense wasn't awesome. Surtain had the great pick. It's not like the defense was terrible, but they didn't win because of the defense. They won because of the offense. And here is the situation they now find themselves in. They have a very tough and very important game next week against Jacksonville. After that, it is the Kansas City backups in Week 17, and then a Chargers team that probably will be locked into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so they could have a lot, for good or for bad, a lot of time for rest and everything before a bye, 1 seed, get everyone healthy.
Too much rest.
Maybe. They played a huge game this weekend, and they play a huge game next weekend. And I thought for Bo Nix, the best game of his career through 28 games was the Chiefs. And I thought the best game of his career through 29 games, whatever it was the Commanders. And the best game of his career up to this point now is the Packers.
Yeah.
So he is peaking. And Sean Payton's doing his thing. And so, begrudgingly, I give him credit. I still would be very surprised if they won the Super Bowl, but they have an amazing resume at this point, Brou.
Yeah, your question is, can they? Yes, they can. Again, I think the Bills should be the favorite in the AFC. But Bo Nix, with that defense, first of all, is phenomenal. And I think they're similar to the Texans. Is C.J. Stroud going to be great? Is Bo Nix going to be great? If either one of those guys plays well, then their team could go all the way. And Bo Nix looks like a big game quarterback. Like he in the last few weeks, he's outplayed Patrick Mahomes, and yesterday he outplayed Jordan Love in big games. So we all know about his fourth quarter comebacks. So I know last year he wasn't great in the playoff and all that, but he looks like a guy that the moment's not too big for. And so I'm going to say, yeah, they can win the Super Bowl.
And unlike CJ, has a great offensive line.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
CJ's running for his life.
Yeah, absolutely, they can win the Super Bowl. And it's because of the guy you all are talking about, Bo Nix. Look, Sean Payton said that he had a Super Bowl team with this outfit. And we all kind of questioned that. I didn't question it as much, but it was going to be because of this young man and the steps or the strides and the progress that he made. It wasn't looking sexy.
A month ago, it didn't look like.
But
it looked like he was the weak link of the team.
Absolutely.
Since that game, and since that game against the Chiefs,
Yeah.
Bo Nix has been outright electric.
Yep.
Like the numbers suggest that he has been playing top elite quarterbacking in the National Football League. Like this is what their team points per games is. Completion percentage, 70%. We know he was struggling there. Passing yards per game up. Touchdown to turnover ratio up. Like Bo Nix has been really, really good, and it just hasn't been the fourth quarter. It's been through the duration. And I've sat in this seat and I said, if they can get the fourth quarter Bo Nix to start the game and finish the game in that magnitude, this team is special.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.